Most people gravitate within your orbit, looking for a flaw, a switch to manipulate you. Machiavelli didn't write for bowing courtiers. He described fluid dynamics. Power abhors a vacuum, and if you do not fill the space with your own authority, someone else will move in to dictate your movements. The fatal error? Confusing popularity with influence. Love is fickle weather. It can offer radiant sunshine in the morning and strike you down by evening over a single misplaced word. Fear, however, is an internal compass. This is not a paralyzing fear, but an electric uncertainty. It is that small doubt in the back of your interlocutor's throats telling them, do not play with fire. This isn't malice, it's social architecture. By creating this security perimeter, you don't become a monster. You become a fixed landmark in a world of shifting variables. Boundary surgery, the weight of your absence. Imagine a leader who distributes his time as if it were air. He is everywhere, he responds to everything, he apologizes for intruding. To his team, he is no longer a leader, he is a piece of furniture. People do not respect oxygen, they consume it without a second thought. Now, look at the one who knows how to withdraw. The one who doesn't give his word for every trifle. When he intervenes, it isn't to join the hubbub, but to cut the Gordian knot of the discussion. Respect is born from the scarcity of your intervention. If your words are gold coins, do not toss them into the mud of useless conversations. Your boundaries must be like invisible barbed wire. If someone takes an inappropriate liberty or cuts you off, do not retaliate with loud aggression. Verbal violence is an admission of weakness. Use the cold instead. A sudden break in your sentence, a gaze that lingers a second too long, a silence that weighs like lead. That is where respect is imprinted. You don't need to scream for people to know you are the master of the room. It is enough for others to feel that access to your person is a privilege that can be revoked at any moment. The scalpel of Cesare Borgia and symbol management. Cesare Borgia was not a man who sought to be understood. He sought to be incontestable. In a province he had just conquered, he let one of his lieutenants do the dirty work of brutal repression. Once order returned, he didn't congratulate the man. He had him cut in half in the public square. The message was twofold. Order is restored, and I am the only one capable of punishing even cruelty. It was a macabre staging, but effective. He transformed hatred into chilled admiration. In your daily life, you don't need to sacrifice anyone, but you must know how to sacrifice the relationships that pull you down. If a collaborator or a friend tramples your values, do not seek to negotiate. Cut the flow. Your attention is the most precious currency you own. By withdrawing it abruptly, you inflict a heavier sanction than any reproach. It is the law of supply and demand. If you are always there to mop up others' mistakes, they will never learn to respect you. Seeking approval is like handing a leash to every person you cross. You end up strangled by the expectations of others. Machiavelli knew that a sovereign who depends on the affection of his people sits upon a volcano. To command respect, you must be prepared to be disliked. Detachment is not arrogance, it is autonomy. It is the ability to say no without justifying yourself, to act according to your own code without checking to see if the crowd is applauding. Think of those moments when you laughed at a joke that insulted you, just to avoid appearing like a killjoy. At that precise moment, you laid down your weapons at your aggressor's feet. Next time, remain stone-faced. Give nothing. Neither anger, nor laughter, nor explanation. This vacuum is terrifying to those seeking to test you. They expect a reaction, and your lack of one reflects their own smallness back at them. Respect begins where your need to please ends. Unpredictability as a shield, the art of never being a target. If you can be read like an open book, you can be torn apart page by page. Predictability is a prison. If your reactions are automatic, your enemies need only press the right buttons to make you dance. True power lies in opacity. Be the one who cannot be anticipated, conciliatory one day, impenetrable the next. This oscillation creates constant vigilance in others. They never know which lever to pull with you, so they choose caution. Take Cleopatra. She didn't fight with conventional armies. She fought with the spectacular and the unexpected. By having herself delivered inside a rug to Caesar, she shattered all diplomatic codes. She imposed her own playing field. You too must change your rhythm. If you are expected to defend yourself in a meeting, ask a question that deflects the attack. If your apology is expected, stay silent and move to the next point. Unpredictability isn't chaos. It is a jamming strategy that protects your core. The black magic of silence. The less you say, the more you weigh. Speech is an energy leak. The more you talk, the more you reveal your insecurities and limits. Silence, however, is a pressure absorber. In a negotiation, the one who speaks first to fill the void is the one who loses control. Learn to let silences stretch until the other person feels compelled to justify themselves. It is in those seconds of discomfort that the cards of power are redistributed. Your silence says, "I have all the time in the world, and your words have not yet reached my reserve price." Observe the great predators of this world. They do not chatter, they observe. They let others exhaust themselves in useless explanations. Use silence as a scanner. By listening more than speaking, you collect the ammunition you will need for your final intervention. And when you finally decide to open your mouth, your words will have the weight of lead because they will have been forged in the furnace of silence. Don't be the background noise. Be the signal that cuts through the noise. Magnetic presence, the energy of stepping back. Respect is not a shout, it is a whisper that commands calm. Presence isn't built in the gym, it is built in the mind. It is the absolute certainty of your own legitimacy. A person with presence doesn't need to gesticulate. Their gait is calm, their gaze is anchored, their voice drops an octave. They occupy the space without having to conquer it by force. Make your presence a rare commodity. If you are at every coffee break, every informal meeting, every farewell party, you become invisible through saturation. Make yourself unavailable. Let your arrival in a room be noted because it is unusual. Scarcity creates value. Alexander the Great did not mingle with his troops for small talk. He appeared like a meteor during critical moments. Ensure your presence is synonymous with decision, movement, and change. Respect is the fruit of this tension between absence and impact. The verdict, dominate the space or be crushed. In the end, respect is a matter of survival. In the social jungle, if you don't show your teeth from time to time, people will eventually believe you are a herbivore. Machiavelli wasn't inviting malice, but lucidity. The world will only give you what you're prepared to defend. Love is a flower that fades. Respect is a fortress that lasts. Have you ever felt that sense of vertigo while looking at your news feed? That moment when you come across someone defending a politician, a star, or a tech guru with such blind fervor that they are ready to justify the unjustifiable. We see them everywhere, these winged worshippers. They close their eyes to an elected official's hidden accounts, applaud the toxic outbursts of a social media star, or marvel at the cruel decisions of a billionaire, as if their hero were protected by an aura of divine infallibility. You stand there, stunned, wondering how your friend, who is far from stupid, can cling to an influencer who scams them, or a leader who tramples their own interests. Why do some venerate a tycoon, thinking that his bank account is proof of superior wisdom? This spectacle of desolation, which often leaves us speechless, would have made Niccolò Machiavelli's eyes sparkle. The Florentine master, who spends life dissecting the entrails of power, knew that beneath conspiracies and wars lies a force more formidable than betrayal. Law 1, the Phantom Army. One always, systematically, and everywhere underestimates the number of stupid individuals in circulation. For Machiavelli, this is the golden rule. It is a truth that stares us in the face, but that we refuse to see out of politeness or optimism. In Le Prince, he warns, men are often slaves to their vilest passions, jealousy, fear, pride. These are what pilot the majority of brains, causing all common sense to be lost at the crucial moment. To think that stupidity is an exception is to condemn oneself to being surprised by it. The mirror of history. In 1494, Florence spiraled into madness. The city was hypnotized by Girolamo Savonaroli, a fanatical monk promising hell to everyone. He convinced thousands of citizens, teachers, merchants, workers, to throw their books, jewelry, and paintings into giant bonfires. Supposed to be aces defended absurd financial products, convinced that money could be created out of thin air. It wasn't just malice, it was a monumental collective blindness. Millions of people lost their homes because of guys who didn't think further than their annual bonus. The lesson of virtue. A clever leader must assume that stupidity is everywhere, even in their own camp. Social media has amplified this phenomenon. A moronic fake news story can go viral and sow chaos in 10 minutes. For Machiavelli, one must saturate the space with stronger messages and prevent the thoughtless from having access to the levers of power. Law 2. The poison of the elites. The probability that a person is stupid is independent of any other characteristic of that person. This is the hardest law to swallow. Anyone can be stupid. Money, degrees, or fame are not shields. A politician can make choices as absurd as a guy at a bar counter, and a star can be as senseless as a stranger. Machiavelli, who frequented popes and kings, knew that excelling in one field does not prevent making monumental blunders elsewhere. The mirror of history. Take Pope Julius II, ambitious, educated, powerful, but he launched wars on impulses of rage without logistics, weakening Italy and opening the door to foreign invaders. Or Ludovico Sforza, the boss of Milan. Despite his colossal fortune, he lost everything by changing alliances every other day out of pure arrogance. For Machiavelli, Sforza was the example of the capricious child playing with empires like toys. The modern reflection. We see it today with certain tech bosses. They have endless degrees, but they let their algorithms boost hate speech that tears society apart, simply out of blindness or a thirst for personal glory. They believe they are untouchable, and that is precisely what makes them stupid. The lesson of virtù. Machiavelli would have said, check your plans with serious audits and surround yourself with people who have the guts to tell you that you are wrong. He would have pushed for counterpowers, free press, whistleblowers, parliaments, not out of love for democracy, but to block the absurd decisions of overconfident leaders. Law 3. Chaos without profit. A stupid person is one who causes damage to others without obtaining any gain for themselves, or even causing damage to themselves. This is where stupidity becomes a force of nature. Machiavelli loved well-crafted plans. He respected leaders who made hard, even cruel decisions, as long as there was a logical goal, keeping power or stabilizing the state. But he hated those who acted without reason. Why? Because the gratuitous error is unpredictable. It breaks everything without building anything. The mirror of history. Girolamo Riario, a pope's nephew in the 1470s. He wanted to seize Italian territories with plots so poorly constructed that he triggered useless wars, ruining his own reputation and that of his allies. He gained nothing. He just created a mess out of pure incompetence. Machiavelli saw in him the perfect opposite of virtù. The modern reflection. Look at the climate crisis. Governments and industries continue to bet on polluting energies when all evidence shows this will destroy the global economy. They gain nothing in the long term. They are sawing off the branch they are sitting on. This is the very essence of stupidity, shooting yourself in the foot while smiling. The lesson of virtù. A leader must purge their administration of idiots and put logicians in their place. Machiavelli would have warned, stupidity loves moments when we let our guard down. In migration or health policies, we often see emotional and absurd choices that create dramas without yielding anything, where cold and organized management would have saved the day. Law 4. The sleep of the just. Non-stupid people always underestimate the nuisance potential of stupid people. This is the classic trap for intelligent people. We think that logic will eventually win, that people aren't that stupid. Grave mistake. Machiavelli explains in his discourse that Rome prospered because it had laws to contain the influence of the incompetent. But as soon as the senators began to underestimate the strike force of the idiots, the republic began to rot. The mirror of history. The Pazzi conspiracy in 1478. A plot to assassinate the Medici in the middle of a mass in Florence. The conspirators were so disconnected from reality that they forgot a crucial detail. The people loved Lorenzo de' Medici. Their plan failed miserably, leading to mass executions and strengthening the power they wanted to destroy. They were the architects of their own folly. The modern reflection. The rise to power of totally incompetent populist figures. The educated elites snickered, thinking voters would see the absurdity of the programs. They underestimated the power of a moronic but impactful message.